In 2017, the government introduced something called Electoral Bond Schemes. Electoral bonds is basically a way for individual, company, or organizations to donate to a political party. Ever since the scheme was introduced, an NGO filed a petition to suspend the scheme. On 23rd of January, the Supreme Court refused the immediate suspension of the scheme. This has led to the electoral bonds to come under the spotlight. There are many concerns around this scheme, and many people say it's not democratic. So let's look at what this scheme actually means. Electoral bonds is a way for companies, organizations, or individuals to make donations to political parties. The main difference between a normal donation and donations via the Electoral Bond Scheme is that it's made through the banking system. They are also bearer instruments, which means the identity of the donor remains anonymous. This is where the main concern arises. Now, most democracies require the candidates or the parties to reveal the identities of the donors, such is the case in the Americas, Asia, and Europe. However, this is no longer the case in India, thanks to the electoral bonds. There are three main concerns associated with the Electoral Bond Scheme. Firstly is the lack of transparency. Political parties do not need to reveal the identity of their donors, and companies do not need to disclose the party they donated to. This could basically function as a way to legalize bribes, and companies could give donations in return for favors from the government. Secondly, the central government said that the Electoral Bond Scheme could help reduce or stop the use of black money. However, this doesn't seem to be the case. Despite the introduction of the Electoral Bond Scheme, cash donations have not been stopped entirely. Cash donations of up to 2,000 rupees can still be made, and there is no limit on the number of donations. So essentially, a large amount of money could be divided into multiple 2,000 rupee donations. Additionally, in 2017, the government removed the cap on donations made by corporations. Originally, corporates could donate up to only 7.5% of their net profits. However, now with this cap removed, firms could potentially donate up to all their profits to a political party. This encourages the setting up of shell companies, which are companies that basically exist on paper for the purpose of donating to political parties. This could be used to circulate more black money into the banking system. Hence, the central government's argument that the Electoral Bond Scheme will reduce the amount of black money doesn't really make sense and only raises suspicions. Thirdly, all the costs to run the Electoral Bond Scheme is partly being taken from the taxpayers' money. So whilst parties and the individuals donating and receiving don't pay a single peso of tax, taxpayers' money is being used to run this seemingly suspicious scheme. With all this criticism and controversy, it's not surprising to see why people are distrustful and angry. The Supreme Court still needs to give a judgment on the matter, but let's hope it's done in a democratic and just way.